Good evening everybody and welcome to race 9 of 11 in season 7, using the EU1 drivers to give us some entertainment. We're at Spain this week, as the other 3 tiers have been, EU3, EU2, AM2, and we are in hopefully for a treat. I was just talking to Jack, who we'll bring in a second, before we came live on air, that the 3 races this week have actually been rather excellent in terms of Spanish standards, and me and Jack hope for the same tonight. In the commentary box, it's Sir Jack Prentice.
Good evening, Limmy. Noticing there's quite a rush, wasn't there? You know, both the Ferraris, both the Mercedes, and both the Haas drivers, out very, very quickly. It looks quite cloudy. Maybe there might be some rain in the air. There's a Red Bull around Camps, and there's one that's just left the pit exit. So very interesting to see. Why? I'm just looking around here now. I'm just going to try and see. Every single driver, with the exception of the AM1 reserve, which is Passassin, SMM Passassin, is on soft tyres at the moment. I think there might be a bit of rain in the air. I'll try and ask in the chat and see what's said, but do you think there might be a bit of rain in the air, Jimmy?
I'll try and investigate. There has been a bit of rain this week, especially last night at 2:30 in the morning, where there was a full 33 laps of intermediates in the American tier, which I rather enjoyed but rather didn't. 4.65 kilometres for track length, 33 laps, it's 66 at 100%. Race distance 153.6 kilometres, and we have 2 dealer zones, down to 1 and down to 10. 16 corners, 9 right, 7 left, and the paragraph from Colts. The drivers love the circuit to Barcelona, Catalonia, which is just as well. I mean, do they love it, do they not? Is it like Marmite? Because they spend huge amounts of time pounding around it during winter testing. The track is a good mix of high and low speed corners with a challenging turn 3 right-hander. A great chance to evaluate the balance of your car for your team's designers to give you a fight with the season. Jack Prentice certainly had a fight when he lost out on the podium by 11 thousandths of a second a night ago.
Thank you.
2 nights ago.
Thank you. Thanks for telling everybody. I'd rather try to forget that, but... Oh, it's a track, because there's two or three key strategies. It's a track really that does lend itself to a good crescendo right at the end, as everything sort of plays out. It's one of those tracks. It's not a very easy track to overtake on. You certainly do see us out goes on a 1 minute 14.2 and Milan on a 1 minute 14.4. It's a track really that does lend itself to having a battle right to the end as tyres start to wear out. And drivers start to work out quite where they are. I'm going to try and see if I can find Tom Robbo. He's in the AlphaTauri. I'm going to go with Joey now on board. He's on an outlap. Maybe there's not rain, or maybe it's just drivers trying to get some trying to get some free air. They're trying to be sort of quite competitive, because it certainly looks like everybody's on soft tyres. But it certainly looks like here that there's no rain certainly for the moment. Otherwise, it wouldn't all be out this late. I'm going to ride on board with Joey. He's just coming into the final sector now, and I think I'd be ideal to do a track guide if you're happy.
I am very happy for you to do your track guide just after Fruitful crosses the line, and we'll go through the championship stuff. He goes second place, 300ths of a second behind. And where is the Alpha? There you go, Jack coming down the turn 15-60.
So you really do need to set it up here. You really need to avoid the sleeping policeman on the inside, and then just let the car accelerate through the final corner. Open DRS as quickly as you can. 190 over the line. You're probably going to build up to about 205 miles an hour now. You're just kind of spotting your braking point. Take as much wide entry as possible just before the 50-metre ball, because it's quite a quick corner. Take the inside curve. Try and avoid the second corner inside curve and hug the inside for turn 3. Very long. Stretches that front left tyre out now. First sector's almost done. Purple, 21.1. Turn 4, very long. You really have to wait to get on the exit, and we're not going to do a track guide with him now, because if you head into turn 5, normally you need to be entering it in a straight line as opposed to sideways. Maybe with the pressure, but we'll find somebody else later on. It's probably going to be just a coast around and see what happens kind of lap time for Joey. I'd still say there's value in completing the lap as long as it's not invalidated. It's not going to be fast, of course it's not, but...
Well, Joey went off at the place Conzo is now, so maybe do you want to carry on down to 7?
Do indeed. So yeah, you have to really be careful with the entry into turn 7 now. You have to make sure that you take a proper curve. I think he is on a it's not a particularly fast lap.
It was
You need to make
fast.
sure that you do. No, I think he's another one made a mistake somewhere because that's not a very fast camper and he's not opening his DRS.
Do you want to wait for Stinson, then? Maybe let's wait for Stinson.
Exactly. We will get a track guide in at the moment
We
as
will.
only 11 drivers have completed the lap time. A 15.1 for Persassin isn't bad on mediums, by the way. That's not a bad lap time. It puts him 10th at the moment. It just keeps him
Yeah.
in play. With Samad 11th, I can only assume a 1 minute 17.4, saw a couple of mistakes. But his Stinson now, let's see what he's got in his locker. Again, you need to set it up properly. Avoid the raised bump sausage curve on the inside to really give yourself the best run. It'll cost you a 10th into the first corner if you don't. Now, he's got to keep building up, building. He's a bit slower than Joey in a straight line. He's gone up to 203, so a couple of miles an hour down, launches across that curve. It's much better. Avoids the curve on the inside of turn 2. Hugs the inside line for turn 3. It all looks a bit neater. Keeps the shortest route possible, then angles his way to the entry of turn 4. Really does attack. He needs a short shift. He does from 4th to 5th in the middle of the corner. Brings the car to the right hand side for the widest entry. It's quite a cambered corner there. You don't have to hit the inside apex there for turn 5. Turn 6 is an acceleration zone. If we head into turn 7, really attack the curve, but make sure you don't accelerate too early. You get a snap of oversteer and run wide. Camps now, turn 9, flat out, 160 miles an hour on apex. Just keep building down the short back straight to turn 10. Turn 10. Again, don't need to hit the apex there as long as you've got a decent speed. Turn 11, avoid the curve, the raised curve on the inside, the best traction there. Turn 12 for the right-hander is just about keeping it to the inside before you launch yourself into this Mickey Mouse section. Avoid the sausage curves again because they'll really hurt you for the run to the line. You run out of VRS, but you'll have a decent lap overall if you stint, so that will put him in P7, a 1 minute 14.4. There looked to be a little bit of time left on the table, but a good solid lap for the, I think he's Dutch, isn't he? He's either Dutch or he's Danish if he's IFR, so no, that's an impressive lap time. It is such a difficult track to get right, Limmy, it really is, because there's 2 or 3 really technical areas, especially in that final sector. It used to be, back in my day, a flat, an almost flat right-hander to start with, and you'd probably come down a couple of gears for the final corner. It used to be a real challenge, whereas now it's not so much.
Thank you, Jack. Yes, indeed. A couple of things you may not know. Alp holds the current world record for Spain at a 13.33. Now, of course, that is on time trial and 0% tyre wear, but maybe we can dip into the high 13s. Also, here's a statistic you might not know. Spain actually has one of the highest win from pole percentages of any race. 15% higher than Monaco at 65%. That doesn't include the 2020 race last season. Was it one from pole? I can't remember, but here comes it out. We're on the final corner in his pink Mercedes, and he's crossing the line to get a 13.872 thousandths of a second behind Arcolo, who improved his lap, his first batch lap, by a 10th and a half. Now Fruitful is on his way down at turn 4, and
not unrescuable from there. It looks a little bit. Leaves a bit of time on the table through turn 4. That's perfect through turn 5. He's up nice and early on the accelerator as well. That's what you really want through that section there, Libby.
Yeah, we have a banging race in store, everybody. Vaporizer isn't here. You've probably noticed 3 people can win the race tonight and go top of the championship. Risa, Fruitful and Bolin. Bolin will go level if he didn't get the fastest lap. And the constructors, a 3-way fight between RP, Williams and Mercedes. So hopefully, Fruitful, a snap, a big snap. And that is probably lap over, Jack.
Yeah, I mentioned that you need to avoid, if you can, the curve, that raised curve on the inside through 11, because what happens there, if you hit it even slightly wrong, it really unsettles the rear end, and you're busy sorting it out. And you're sorting out, collecting up that rear end when you're meant to be on the entrance and on the apex at turn 12. It really does cost you time, and especially if you've got poor traction, as they appear to have there, you're on a hiding to nothing really with that. Assassin, meanwhile, doing his bit as a guest, isn't he? For the
doing alright, isn't he? Trying to keep racing point in that constructors fight.
I think there's a few drivers who'll be happy to be 11th backwards because you get free tyre choice. And you know, you really do want to start on mediums if you can here. I mean, Samad's going round. He seems to be doing a heavy fuel run on those soft tyres. If you look, that's 6 laps. He's just been pounding round, and pounding round, and he's not really got anywhere further. No, he's not using much in the way of ERS. I suspect what he's doing here is he's getting his eye in ahead of a medium run later on. It won't. A medium run will probably see him at best sort of 13th or 12th, depending on what Ricky does. From where he is, but no, it's interesting to see that. Really, there's a few drivers who might not be giving their all for the final laps, because it really is an advantage here if you could avoid starting on soft tyres. So you know, you either have to be pole, second, or you know, third to really make that work. Otherwise, you're just going to get swallowed up by the chasing pack behind.
Seen a few red lines during this session. Invalidations, quite common around Spain. There are a few places that you want to push, but then just overstep. We saw Risa about 30 seconds ago locking up through turn number 5. That's the left-hander before you head down to that tricky. It's like a double left, isn't it? That's is it 7, 8? It's like, I know it's a left and a right, but you've got to clip that half a curb, don't you, on the left? I mean, you've got to clip that half a curb on the right to save as much time as possible.
Yeah, it's a left-hander that leads into that area. It's more of an acceleration zone, but you get your work done through turn 7 and turn 8. You spent sorting out any issues you've had through turn 7. If you get a snap of oversteer, then turn 8 sort of is on you immediately.
I mean, you carry all the way through, don't you, flat? So any speed you lose at that point, you've lost all the way down to 10.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you have lost all the way down to 10. Unless you really ace Kamsa, and Kamsa, that's the turn 9 right-hander.
I'm going to interrupt you, Jack. I want you to take us on a lap with the leader of the session, heading down to turn 1.
He's hitting 204 miles and 205, so he's gone for a slightly more straight line, speed heavy setup. Clips the curve perfectly through turn 2. He read it really well there. Now has to keep it really tight through turn 3. Now to angle himself, wide entry really. He's a 10th down already though, so it wasn't his best first sector. Lets the car run wide. He doesn't take the shortest route. He takes a slightly longer but faster route. Keeps it hooked in nicely down through turn 5, and then just pretty much straight line 6 before you approach 7. Chucks it in really, has perfect balance there, doesn't really have any other oversteer which you normally get through turn 8. Flat through Kamsa as well, that's nice. DRS open very early, so he's been on the ball there. He's a 10th faster in the second sector. He's 300ths up. He's got traffic there. That Renault needs to clear out the way.
It's a great second sector up.
Yeah, it's excellent from Conzo there as well, moving over to the right-hand side. Now, has to avoid the sleeping policeman on the inside through the right-hander there. Avoid the two sausage curves, through the chicane, and then just simply straighten it up as much as possible. I think it's going to be in mid-13. It is.
Wow.
1 minute 13.7. That's yeah, you're not stopping those. I think he means business, doesn't he?
He means business. That's only 4 attempts off a world record, by the way, in a proper under pressure qualifying session in EU1. Arcolo is showing the pace in Spain. Some people will make the argument it's not the best to start pole. We'll find out very shortly. Ricciardo filling in for Mr. Pease, I believe. Last second he couldn't fill it. Nope, that's Tom Rubbo. Who's Ricciardo falling in for? Is
Ricciardo's filling in for Coolhands Carter.
Oh, Carter, there you go.
Obviously left Haas, isn't he, after
he's not doing bad, by the way. The Welshman in 12th.
No.
Has he improved? I haven't checked the task times. Let's see. What's 12th? Goes 11th. Nice.
It's an ideal place to start there.
It's not bad. Oh, 1,000th off a second from Dresse Basson as well. That's incredibly close. I put the leader gap on for a few seconds, and look at that. 4 tenths to 7 tenths from 6th to 11th. That's pretty... Yeah, that's EU1.
Yeah, we've got last week's eventual winner, Joey, after Risa received a 10-second penalty, and don't really have any qualms about that, it must be said. But he's currently 13th at the moment. He's on medium. This isn't his finest hour, I'll tell you that now. It's 2 seconds down. It's been a scruffy lap as well. He comes into the pit lane and...
oh, he never did a raggy.
Yeah, he has sped rather quickly into the pits though. I think the stewards might take a dim view of that. If that's seen by any of the competitors, they may end up reporting. But yeah, he's going to
Jack up
face a
to
bit of a struggle to get out there. Sorry, Louis.
eight IFR in a row. I've got a comment saying, am I not wrong? 4th to 11th, the IFR gang. Oh, did someone
That's
get?
backing out
I
the
didn't think
minor
he got
places,
held up.
aren't they?
I don't think he got held up. But did those 3 cars coming out of a pit lane, who got very, very tight, mess his concentration up? That turn 1 and turn 2, by the way, I found the trickiest part of the quali lap. I found everything else fine, even the final chicane. Turn 1 and 2, it just took me like 3 or 4 laps to get into the groove.
There's so many cars in front of Fruitful for his first sector and into the start of his second sector. I'd struggle to believe that he didn't lose time, to be perfectly honest. There were so many things going on, it would have spun me, to be totally honest with you. Let's see how he does in the second sector. He's a 10th up still, so he's still going to be going places with this lap. 1 minute 14 flat at the moment. Scheduled to be buried in the 1 minute 13.9. And, well, it's a better attempt than when we last saw. He's nipped through 11. He avoided the curb nicely.
It just interrupts. Has outgone pole? He has got pole by over a tenth of a second. 36 from the Racing Point driver. Not bad. Here comes Fruitful. Was P4 crosses the line?
Dreadful.
Stays.
Dreadful final sector. It was absolutely dreadful. He was all over the place really. He clipped the curb too hard through the right-hander just before the complex, and then clipped both sausage curves on the inside of the chicane. Really, it wasn't his finest hour at all.
Alp. 300ths, Rowan 300ths up, only 400ths off the purple first, and end of sector 2 is just at the bottom of the second DRS zone, heading down to turn 9. How has Rowan done during this sector? He's a 10th up, so a 10th and a half overall, which will put him 370, might put him on the second row of the grid. We'll stay on board with the Williams. A few people are about to cross the line, and we'll try and keep an eye if any changes are done.
Traffic.
I think he's okay. Oh, bit of a snap there. Don't know if that's dirty. I don't know how much it's calculated into the game. Rowan crosses the line. It is enough for the second row, but just behind Passassi.
I think that might have cost him a bit of time, to be honest. Not much that Tom Robbo can do, but he was caught a bit asleep. But, no, I mean, it will have undoubtedly cost him time. I don't think there would have been a nice enough slipstream effect either. So, yeah, certainly bad luck for Rowan there. But he's still 4th, so a solid place ahead of Boastman. Boastman's gone 5th. That's excellent from the Haas driver. And here comes Samad. Samad has crossed the line. He's gone 15th, but on a 1 minute 14.8 on definitely on medium tyres would suggest that he had the pace for soft tyres to be in the top 10. Now, Milan Malgo in the Red Bull. He's gone 6th ahead of Fruitful, so Fruitful's really paying for that poor final sector because he's gone 8th behind IFR Rowan. Rowan goes P3.
He does. Reesa gets across the line in his Mercedes. Got a chance. He's only a few points behind the leader. I'll tell you exactly what it is during the formation lap. He comes round the final corner. He's only 10th for a minute. Not good for a man who wants to win this Grand Prix. Goes up to the second row of the grid. Calzo is next to cross. Was 60. He's not next to cross, sorry. He will be third to cross. Is Joey using line or no line? Don't know. Stays 14th fastest. And a TRT Tom Robbo no better than 11th. Here comes Calzo. Was 17th. Goes 12th fastest.
Down over the line.
What's that path doing, Jack?
Started.
Down to turn 9. Is that the cars who are finished? Yes, it is.
Yeah,
My
they
apologies.
are all finished. Yep, the Formula 1 centipede is finished down there.
Look at the map.
Calzo slew down over the line. He actually hit the brakes, I think, because it was quite an extreme slowing. And he was right to do so, to be fair, because he wouldn't have gone much faster than a 14.3. Probably, he might well have ended up in the middle of that pack, but he wants to start on medium tyres, which is the optimal strategy, really, if you're not starting in the top 2 rows.
Well, it looks like we've got a race on our hands. Oh! Arcolo has been given a grid penalty for a collision with Calzo. So the man who started P2 will be starting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. P7. There you go.
Back he goes.
Oh dear. Oh dearie dear. I mean, he's only 700ths off for pole sitter. So that means Rowan's on the front row of the grid. Passassin actually does get on the second row. And that pushes, will push Rowan up as well, won't it? Into 5th place.
If you're postman upwards, you're moving forwards a place. Obviously, Milan, Malgo, and Fruitful Denzo completing the top 10. Fruitful will be disappointed with that. I mean, it was an error stream qualifying session from the Flying Dutchman as well, and it could really have been probably fourth or fifth had he have managed to knit it all together. But no, it's going to be an excellent race. I think if you're starting in the lower reaches of the top 10, you're going to face a real struggle. There are some drivers who can make a two-stop work. There was a couple of drivers who went, in EU3 went soft, medium, soft, and it paid dividends. Some may stretch the softs and go onto hard tyres, but they'll be suffering a bit towards the end. But if you're starting from 11th backwards, the only strategy to really go on is the medium hard. Some might inverse that and do a hard medium to be quick towards the end of the race, but you might suffer from lap sort of 14 to lap 19.
Let me turn my laptop on really quickly. I do want access to the task system, probably a race where we need it.
Yeah, be handy.
A little bit. Dry race, everybody, according to the associate people. And what was I going to say? Yes, we saw Alp have a horrendous start in Japan. Made up for it the next couple of weeks, I guess. Or improved, but it is an incredibly long rundown. I mean, if I didn't get clotheslined by 2 cars last night, I probably would have been P4, P3 from P6. It is possible starting third to get first. It is. And we'll see what happens in the next couple of minutes, because we've got a formation lap to come. And that's what that one red light signifies. Now, you don't want to waste too much tyre percentage. It is quite a burning track. And you probably don't need to work too hard to warm the tyres up, Jack. And speaking about tyres, what have we got?
I don't suspect for 1 second that they'll be trying to warm these tyres up too much, because of the sheer amount of wear that happens. And true to form, everybody from 11th downwards has gone completely, with the exception of Konzo, against what I said. So the top 10, that's Rowan, that's Alps, Rowan, Risa, Passassin, Rowan, Boastman, Arkalo, Milan, Fruitful and Denzo. They're all on soft tyres. From 11th backwards, so that's Tom, Robbo, Calzo, Stinson, Dre Sebastian, with Ricardo, Joey and Samad are all on hard tyres, apart from Konzo, they're on mediums. I'm surprised more drivers haven't gone for medium tyres. I'm surprised that maybe if you're starting 11th or 12th, you can get in amongst the cars ahead, you can get a bit of an undercut as well, because it's difficult to pass here. And yeah, I'm surprised that a couple of the drivers haven't gone for medium tyres, because you can pit probably lap 14, 15. You won't lose out that badly for any of the stragglers who've pitted early, and you might end up jumping them potentially once all the stops complete. But no, we shall see, because the some soft medium runners may be, some of the top 10 might be doing soft medium medium, and you might end up behind a car on hard tyres, having done your stop, and then you might end up losing a pit lane as Alp loses the back end on his formation lap as he comes around to start. So the hard tyres they'll obviously trying to get as much heat into those tyres as possible, whereas the soft runners will be doing the exact opposite really. They'll want a slow pace, whereas the hard drivers will want a quick pace as they come around to start to form the grid.
Thank you, Jack. The pole sitter is now on his grid. We'll wait for the last car. That's Konzo in the Renault. I love the way Tass has got to do dark mode. It makes things look interesting and gives me even more suspense. Nerves kick in. It's a very important race of the season, this one. There's only 2 to go. Baku and Mexico. 3 people tonight could win the race and go top of the championship. What is going to happen at the Circuit de Catalunya? Lights out and away we go. It was quick. Out gets away, not too greatly, and Rowan's already alongside him. And big contact between Rowan and Alp. The same in Japan. Rowan's at the back of the grid. Milan is out of the race. Safety car deployed. Racing leads a Grand Prix, and Boastman is up to P2. That is an incredible start to the Grand Prix.
All caused by the driver in third. He basically got the hop between the 2 cars. It was a poor start from Alp, and Rowan didn't get away much better. And they closed up, and at that point, when you're third, you just have to get on the brakes. At that point, you have to sort of see what's happening ahead, and what happens then is the Alpha Tauri of Rowan got tagged first. That spun him into Alp. Alp nearly held on to it. He nearly held on to it, but he managed to lose it. Where he lost it, having tried to really gather it back up and ended up into the wall. Whereas Rowan was just a passenger. A bit of a mess, really. It was unnecessary. He could have got on the brakes and he could have maybe tried to make the move into the first corner. He didn't need to be going 3 wide going into the first corner. And I suspect that, well, the stewards are obviously going to have a look at that. But what it does do with the safety car, no driver apart from Milan Malgo in the Red Bull, he was the one that really suffered for it because he was effectively driving blind. Couldn't see what was happening, and he's retired from the race before he's even made the first corner. So absolute disaster for the Red Bull. It's held up a couple of other drivers as well. Fruitful is a man that's gone backwards. He was 8th, I think, no, 9th on the grid. He's gone back to P10. I'm shocked that some of the soft runners haven't pitted. I really am shocked that they haven't pitted. Just looking now, how many of them? No, none of them are pitted at all, apart from the Williams of Fruitful. That's the better idea because you might be able to get hard tyres towards the end from 30, which will be 30 racing laps. You may be able to get them to the end. Obviously, Rowan and Alp have little choice but to pit. But yeah, it's a mess really. The first start, it didn't need to happen either. So frustrating as well for Alp and Rowan, who are going to lose now potential race-winning positions.
That's an unbelievable start. I mean, that's not an Instagram clip. Maybe not to showcase the best part of COS, but I don't know what is. Yeah, crazy start. I can see in the stream. Our highest viewers this season have just witnessed what is not only a repeat of Japan, with the 2 cars involved dropping incredibly far down the list, but also seeing the retirement of a car who I didn't see to be directly involved. All I saw was an Alpha Tauri lose it and go through the middle of a pack. Milan is gone already, and yeah, crazy. Safety car's going to do another lap at least. We've got 2 cars to catch up. I agree with Jack with the interesting part of some of the softs not pitting. 3 people do have the pens. Passassin on his debut, Tom Robbo and Calzo. Position changes I've left on the screen because that was crazy. No other word. Boatman, excuse me. Boatman up 4. Denzo 6. 4 for Tom Robbo and Calzo with the pen. Joey 7 from 16th place. And Rowan and Alp 14 and 16 down. What a start to the Spanish Grand Prix. I mean, I was not expecting that. The lights did go out very quickly. Maybe that was had something to do with that kerfuffle. But we digress. Another lap on the safety car, Jack, and we'll get going again very shortly.
Yes, no, I'm with you. To be honest, I'm with you. It's you know, it's an awful start, isn't it, for especially for Milan. Through no fault of his own, was out of the race from an incident that wasn't even caused by him. He just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. The hard runners here have got the high ground now because they're going to be able to keep those tyres warm. They're going to heat cycle. And
I'm just going to turn the stream off for a minute, Jack. I'm just going to play that moment again because I just want to see what actually happened. Because we only see it once, don't we? Just like in real life, we only see it once. I'm just going to watch it back again. So the lights come on. 5 lights. They go out within a second, very quickly, and they get underway. So Alp slow, Rowan's alongside. Oh yeah, so you can see. I mean, very clearly, Risa clips the AlphaTauri on the back end. Not on purpose, of course.
He didn't need to be there, though. He didn't need to be there.
Yeah, I'll just play it 0.25 just to give it a better understanding.
Safety car is in this lap, by the way, Libby. So you may
so I'll make it. Don't you worry. I'm sure Risa will take some time to warm up the tyres. So we get away there, lights out. You can watch it later. Risa moves to the right, clips the AlphaTauri, who hits Alp. Alp goes onto the grass. AlphaTauri's basically out and goes in through the pack. Then Alp spins off, and we crack on. Safety car deployed. That is incredibly messy. Safety car lights are off, as Jack has said, but Mylander enters for pits. We've got that Mercedes car, but in red for Imola this weekend. The Aston Martin will be back for next race. At least we don't have to wait 3 weeks for that next race. Jesus. Right, here we go then. Reese is in charge. And
I suspect Reese may be getting a visit from the stewards. He's gone quite late there. Not quite sure that was the best thing he could have done. Both have actually held on quite well. And he's in the slipstream, and I fancy he may go for a move. They're weaving to try. That's not what you need to be doing. Weaving's what got you into this mess in the first place. But
yeah.
no, Boatman hung on really quite well. That's not the best of restarts from Reese as well there, to be perfectly honest. It was one of those really that
it was enough.
It was telegraphed. It was enough, but you really do want a bit more of a gap. But no, here we go. Let's see where we end up from here. No movement that I can see at the moment.
You got Ferrari and Renault going wheel to wheel down the inside of 5, and I think Calzo is just about going to get ahead. Yes, Joey got ahead of Dresse Basson in a turn 2 and 3, I believe, so that puts Joey up to 8th place. So a couple of moves, not many. Car Centipede begins as we head round turn 9 down to 10.
So those 2 moves are quite important, obviously, because those drivers are all yet to pit, so they are, that is a real race move, if you like. Obviously they all are. But that's going to pay dividends later on in the race. The only thing I can say for Fruitful and Rowan is, with them having pitted for medium tyres, they're going to need to make progress quickly. They're going to need to be busy early. Fruitful's another man that's been busy early. He's trying to get past Konzo. Konzo in 14th has not had the happiest of time, but and I think he might well be vulnerable here. We're not normally focused on the battle for 14th, but I fear it could be quite important that Fruitful doesn't have to stop again. Let's see what happens here into turn 1. Is he going to make a move? I think it's better of it. I thought he might just slide down the inside there. Limmy, I thought he might just go for it on the brakes.
Yeah, same. But no, not now. We got DRS at the start of lap 6, of course. We're on lap 5, 2 laps after the safety car. That wing can open. And
Alf and Rowan going side by side again.
At the back.
No,
should we go on board with it? Where is it?
Yeah, well,
there we go.
That was, from the... Well, it ended better than the first lap, that's all I can say, really. Alp's trying to make a move on Rowan and trying to... He's obviously heard me saying about being busy early. He's trying to get away. Boatman's dropped back to nearly a second behind Reese, so Reese obviously has the pace. He just needs to break clear of that 1 second with the DRS coming into effect next lap. And he nearly has, to be fair. It is just over a second. So I figure that Boatman may well be vulnerable to Assassin behind. Assassin is carrying the torch now for racing points.
He is. Got a penalty to do in the pits. I wonder how hard it is to go from EU2 into EU1. Looking at Tom Robbo, Ricciardo. I wonder, I guess it's pretty hard. The Welshman's putting in a good shift. Was just overtaken by Samai going down to turn 10 on the last lap. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even like to attempt to drive in EU1. Reese has pulled a gap at the front. 1.2 from a guy who started P6 behind him. Boatman in the Haas. Very good start by him. Managed to weave all the way through those chaotics of lap number 1. And he's looking okay, isn't he? Not too bad.
No, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Tom, it's difficult to say who's the real true leader of the race. But I mean, obviously you've got Reese at the top of the standings there. That sounds daft. But once this all shakes out,
yeah,
no one really knows where these are going to end up and whose strategy is going to play out best. The thing with the safety car, though, is that it did give precious laps and precious time to those soft runners out front. So they can potentially now stretch that into a hard run and be able to get to the end.
Yeah, just making sure on the task anything that had anything of interest. I don't think so, Jack. And
a big queue behind Ricky Carr.
Well, it's been an overtake. It's been an overtake. The debut man just missed it, but we got it in the end. Just has overtaken the Haas. Now can Bassassin try and close on Risa in front? Is he on for a win on his debut? Who knows? 27 laps to go.
Yeah, he's looking quite impressive, isn't he? He's looking quite impressive. There's a bit more of a gulf in class in between AM1 drivers and EU1 drivers in terms of the distance between, or the time between them in the grid. So this is encouraging to see. It's showing that the AM1 driver, obviously we've got Alp, who's a regular on the AM1 scene. He's particularly towards the top end in terms of pace. But this is good to see. It shows that the strength in depth in the AM tier that we have is really improving. It's very impressive, and he's put on a really good show, isn't he?
100%. Rita 43, Passassin 48, Boatman 55 on the tyres. So a bit of a difference there, 43 to 56, but yeah.
Boatman's really struggling. Really struggling.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, 55% already. 7 laps completed, sorry.
I think the only reason he didn't drop out of DRS there was because he burnt all of the DRS almost coming out of the final corner. It was a wise move because Denzo's right behind him, and Denzo's a lot quicker. Boatman's really struggling. He misses the apex, runs wide there, goes quite deep. And that'll hurt him through turn 2 and turn 3. And it's bad to do in qualifying, but it's even worse in the race because you're just killing those tyres on heavy fuel.
So how is this going to play out? That's the question, because obviously, didn't you say it was a 2-stop, right? I think you said
on
it was.
Soft, usually a 2-stop.
Yeah.
The safety car early doors means that these guys can maybe stretch it out into a 1-stop, and it looks like some are doing, because normally you're in lap 5, lap 6. Where somebody starting on the mediums would have benefited, if they'd have been sort of 11th or 12th on the grid, would have benefited, is they've been making their way through this pack now. Whereas at the moment, Konzo on mediums, Rowan on mediums, and Alp on mediums, okay, the latter two are there through force, but they're stuck in a bit of a DRS train. There's not much they can really do. And so they're just sort of stuck behind, whereas if you're on mediums you might be able to get through because the traction is so much better. As Arkalo, Rowan I think is pitted by the way, Rowan's early, but I suspect he might be trying a bit of an undercut, try and put some hard tyres on and try and gain places from the front. Doesn't have a penalty to serve, so a good move for Williams.
Yep, first guys get a pen on the track, Samad, 3 seconds added to his race time. Lap 9 of 33. One man has taken a pit stop after the safety car. Other stops on screen are Fruitful, Rowan and Alp, of course. That's crazy. I was going to compare it on the safety car with like Hamilton and Albon having their 2 moments, not just one. These have had their 2 moments at the start of Japan and the start of Spain, albeit both of them not really being their fault.
No, not really. They just seem to be meeting in bad places, don't they? That's all it really is. Is that, I mean, Alp didn't have a chance. Alp moved across almost from the get-go.
But he stayed in that lane. He
No.
started on the left, didn't he?
Yeah,
or did he move to the right? Yeah,
he angled his car, but he was perfectly entitled to do that, and he did it straight away.
Alp was still on the left, looking at the clip. He stayed on that side, but Rowan had a good start. Like
Rowan
I said,
had a good start,
and then
moved a little bit left, and Alp moved a little bit right, but Alp made it clear pretty much straight away what he was going to do, and he kind of telegraphed it really. I'm surprised that it wasn't seen straight away, and then you try and go around the outside, and you're lucky it's through the inside of turn 2. Postman pits. I think he might fall victim to an undercut from Rowan. No, I'm wrong there. But Rowan's got an awful lot closer, isn't he? And I think DRS time, Rowan's normally a bit quicker.
Do they want to fight or work together, even though we've got the different teams?
They'll fight.
They'll fight, but they want to. They've got a bit of clear track there, haven't they? Well,
it's 9.7 seconds, so if Rowan can get anywhere near, he'll have him a fancy going into the first corner.
Yes.
But he needs a really good run out of final corner. That's where he needs it, and he's going to be on warmer tyres. So in theory, you think he should get that. He's going to have a squirt of DRS going into turn 10 out of Campster, so he needs to make sure he sorts himself out there. But it'll be
what's it called?
What's
the corner called?
Campster, turn 9.
What is it?
Campster.
Campster. Like cancer, but with an M.
No. C-A-M-P. Camp.
Oh, okay, Campsar. Okay. I never knew that. I didn't know the corner into 9 Belgium was called No Name Corner. You said it on stream. I was like, wait, it's got no name, and you were like, yeah, it's called No Name Corner. I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's the corner with no name. Although I think some may call it Brussels. There is now an official name for it, but
that's Bruxelles. That's the hairpin. But yeah. So the softest pit.
But anyway,
the softest pit.
Yeah, the softs are all in, and Rowan and Boastman have undercut the ball. Denzo's now, yeah, Rowan's not been able to get past Boastman, so Boastman's held on certainly for the moment. Denzo and Arkalo, now they're going to have slightly fresher tyres, but you know, at this moment in time, they're being a bit of a DRS train all the way from Boastman to well, Passassim. You know, not really going to be anything of note there. It's just going to be follow the leader unless somebody makes a mistake, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Reese are 4 seconds up the road. I suspect, without being presumptuous, he might need those seconds.
Yes.
I suspect that might not come under the. I could be wrong. I often am. That might not come under the category of start line incident. I suspect that he might be in before the stewards again. It's been an interesting few weeks for the Dane, hasn't it? Now,
Yeah.
this is where Tom Robbo, Joey, Stinson, Dre Sabassen, Calzo, Samad, and Ricky, and to an extent Fruitful, need to get their work done. Fruitful, if he's, you know, he might try and look after his tyres.
Oh yeah, are you expecting us to go mediums?
The top 7 have got a pit, and they will pit for mediums about that 19, that 20 onwards. Someone might get brave and try and maybe stretch it out to lap 23 and maybe go onto soft tyres, but I don't think that would be the optimum strategy.
Well, we saw them struggle pitted on 25.
Yeah, soft tyres will
yesterday.
make it once the track's rubbered in and the fuel is lower. I've got no issues with them making it. The problem they'll have is that they'll lose 4 or 5 seconds at best on old hards.
Yes.
But it's just going to be a case to know how good you are at overtaking, how good you are at saving your battery really for the first corner. I think that's going to be where the challenge lies. But Tom Robbo doing a good job. No real threat from behind at the moment. As I say that, Joey gets an excellent exit, and he's got a lot more ERS to play with. Although he's burning some of it now, I suspect, in defence from Stinson. So they're both going to get closer to Tom Robbo, but neither are going to get there. And yeah, Tom Robbo's doing a good job, the young man. He's controlling the race, well, his segment of the race, the hard segment of the race, fairly well, and I suspect that once this all shakes out, he will be towards the sharp end. Samad has got past Calzo, I think, on the exit of turn 2 through turn 3.
That's correct.
Impressive move there from the Ferrari driver. I suspect that he would have had to have kept it really tight to the inside and then just nailed him on the brakes into turn 4. That's normally the way round there.
Yeah, it did look like they were going to go wheel to wheel. They didn't, and he got past. And Tom Robbo, the reason why Joey gained so much was because he had a slip on the final corner, hence why he pulled 3/10 down that straight, and a bit of battery on board with Stinson in his Mercedes car, getting very close to that gearbox of the Alfa Romeo. Fruitful's getting very close to Ricciardo. Yeah, Fruitful's getting very close to Ricciardo too.
Yeah, Fruitful's now starting to get interested in that Haas, and I think he's trying to. Ricky's pitted. That's early. That's early. Unless there's issues with that's very early. Yeah. I can't really work that out unless he's.
Fair enough. Being honest,
Well,
can't
he's
work
going
out.
to do 19 laps on mediums. It's a bit inverse, and I mean, he'll be struggling towards the end. He'll fly. This middle section of the race will absolutely fly. But I suspect he may be toast towards the end. But if he can hang on, if he can just keep those rear tyres in, then he may be okay there. Certainly, in his position, it's worth a gamble and see how far he can get up.
Alp 3/10 behind the Alpha Tauri of Rowan, and I'm sure we'll see these two go too forward again at some point during this Grand Prix. Rowan 10% battery, Alp double onto that, so 10 plus 20. I didn't really say that very nicely, but 30% for Alp, so we'll keep an eye on that. And of course everyone, probably including Ricky, if Jack doesn't think he can do 19 laps, and everyone in the top 10 will have to pit again, and we believe 11th down to 16th at least, a fine to the end, Jack, unless there's like a safety car, maybe like 24 or something.
Yeah, Ricky will make it, but he'll be slow towards the end. He can make it. but he just won't be quick. But what he's banking on is any work he can get done in the middle stint, or we'll say the middle section of the race, sorry, the second and final stint. That's what he's banking on, really. He's banking on seeing just whether he can get in amongst it and then hold them up from ahead. Rowan and Alp, it's a difficult one really because they're on medium tyres and going nowhere. I suspect Fruitful may elect to stop again, and he may try and push these hard tyres and then potentially pit a little bit earlier, try and get an undercut on them that way. But it's the problem is it's all line astern at the moment because they're all in a DRS and they're all half a second behind the car ahead.
Yep.
With the exception of Rowan and Alp, but Rowan's 1.6 seconds back, so those mediums are starting to struggle anyway. And it really is difficult here because you really do need to be, greedy with your ERS, or you need to have an excellent run out the final corner at the moment when you're in this kind of situation. Otherwise, you're just going to get a DRS train.
There comes Joey.
If you're Joey, you're going to have a look on the inside of Tom Robbo. Finally, he's used the extra power he's got.
Meow. Sorry, I had the best camera in the world there. I think the camera was on the marker board. They just flown past.
Yeah, so Joey, Tom Robbo's run out of ERS, which he needs to do down the long straight here, whereas Joey saved his battery and is now going to try and make good his escape. He's already half a second up the road, but it's just about whether he can now get away. Not with the lock up into turn 5, he can't.
So Tom Robbo's got a 5 second, hasn't pitted. Whether he'll do that, I don't know. Calzo had a 5 second. Has he taken a pit stop already? Probably not. No. So that'll be probably done, won't it?
So Calzo received a 3 second penalty as well around the race. I think it might be him, or it might be Conzo to be fair, but my eyesight isn't what it was. It looks like Tom Robbo's struggling a bit now compared to Joey. Joey's timed his run quite well. He just needs to get a half a tenth in the final sort of chicane, and he is a second clear.
Are they just waiting for BSC or safety car now, just to flop onto those mediums?
No, not really. This is kind of going to time, really. If you probably pit from lap 17, lap 18 to lap 20, and so they're doing what they should be doing. Under any kind of any normal circumstances, to be fair. Even if there hadn't been a safety car, they would still be out here. They would still be pounding around on those hard tyres. They just had half the leaders ahead taken out ahead of them, and so they'll be doing it for probably fewer points. But they are where they are, and the strategy at the moment, it's now about when you pit and whether you pit at the right time, because obviously with them all being on hard tyres, it's going to come down to really who's prepared to undercut or who's prepared to be aggressive.
Is Fruitful prepared to be aggressive through turn 9? Bit too aggressive. Slips. Maybe a chance down the inside of 10. No. Stays behind some mad. So if you can hear a car alarm. I believe the headset's got some minor what's the word? Where it blocks out sound. I can't. Summit technology. Noise cancelling. Yeah, it's got some minor, so I'm sorry if you can hear the car alarm. You shouldn't be able to. It's pretty loud. But there we go. Can you hear it? Hopefully not.
My sensors are all pretty bad. I'm the last person to ask. Fruitful, yeah, he lost the back, didn't he, through Kamsa, and at that point...
He's not catching though, is he?
No, because...
Well, the car's got DRS, but he's not getting anything.
Yeah, has got DRS, and it's the most pointless DRS zone in the world going into turn 10. You really do need a lot of overspeed.
Yeah.
Even have half a chance of getting down the inside, you need to be supreme on the brakes.
Do you think that development of turn 10 where it goes rounder a bit more next season will help or not help?
No.
You have seen what they're doing, yeah.
Yeah, it'll probably hinder them because it's a slightly higher apex speed and it's a longer curve. So the only thing it might do is it might set up side by side into 12, but fundamentally I don't see there being... Personally, I don't see there being any much more overtaking, if any at all, going into turn 10.
Fair enough. Lap 18 of 33, over halfway, and we have people yet picked. That is every single person in the top 7. When are we going to do it? Well, a Mercedes has made the call, and Stinson is in, as is Dressy.
There's Dresser Bus, and so it's Fruitful. Fruitful's pitted as well. He's looking up for those hard tyres. What he's done there, though, is get himself in the race and get himself off of those soft tyres.
Stinson? Hello? Oh, connection glitch or something. Okay, we're stuck in the pit lane, but he's come out in front of the Red Bull. Didn't think it was that close when we went in, but there we go.
I can see that he has survived. No, it's as it should be. They were fairly close on track.
Someone just dipped on the mud there. Who was that? That was either Boseman or the McLaren of Denzo. It was one of them. I don't know who lost the place. I couldn't see.
Maybe I was busy looking at the battle down the back, to be perfectly honest.
That's
They
okay.
come out behind Ricky. Come out a second and a half behind Ricky, who's on the back of Dracer, who's, well, on the back of Stinson. You see what I mean? Ricky's kind of sort of plopped himself in the middle here. He's on older medium, so Fruitful and Alp should get away quite quickly, and so should Run once they pass him, if they can displace him. I think I'm just looking at it now. Yeah, it's going to be a challenge for Ricky to hold them back. I think it might be worth just trying to let them go and stay him behind now. So all of that, Joey, Tom, Robbo, Samad and Calzo pit. Now, Risa, Bowen and Boseman, that's Denzo, Arcamo and Passassin. They're the sort of the six, aren't they? The five, I can't count now. Five, really, who are going to sort of take the lead, and they're going to be the lead group. But they're going to come under threat from those on mediums behind. Now, where they feed back out, Joey's fed back out in seventh, and he's got a clear run ahead of all of these cars. So, depending on how quickly he goes, it could be Joey's race, this. It really could.
Let's see. Samad just ahead of Fruitful. Ricciardo trying to sneak his nose in. Has not enough traction, goes wide. And Fruitful's right behind Samad. Not going to get through in a turn 4. Very hard to overtake here, of course. Even in the LSO that Jack mentioned of 9 to 10. But there you go.
Alp. I think Alp and Ricky got together. No, it was Alp and Ricky who were side by side, and I think Ricky just shooting the grass.
Right.
And what's happened is that the Rowan's gone ahead, and now Tom Robbo, that penalty really messed him up, hasn't he? Because he was sort of one of the lead hard drivers. He's back to 15.
That is harsh.
Yeah, that's the game, though, isn't it? That's Codemasters. Reese has built a gap, a 7-second gap, and as I said before, he's going to need every second of it. Rowan's got past the Boseman, so he'll be on his way. But the problem is he's dragging Boseman, and it's a long queue now, isn't it? He's dragging them all along with him.
Boseman in a turn 1. Oh, sorry, I think you had it.
No, not at all.
No, sorry. Yeah, well, Boseman's got ahead. Very textbook, but did have to wait to the last second. Big move for the Haas driver, who's raced well since lights out. Has fallen away off Risa, but he's put up a very good fight with everyone else around him.
What this is doing is all this battling is gaining Risa time, which is, as I suspect, as I said earlier, probably going to come in handy for him. With everything that's gone on, he's 7.5 seconds up the road, and he's getting away by about half a second a lap. So whilst these all squabble down the main straight, I suspect Boseman may struggle soon because he's going to run out of battery. Battery already has, but it's just gaining the Mercedes time, the time that he is going to need towards the end of the race.
Absolutely, look at how close these cars are. Interval from Boseman to Joey, 2 single seconds, plus probably about another 3 or 4 seconds from that AlphaTauri of Rowan in P13. It's all very, very close. Boseman got an incredible exit though, and that might just survive the onslaught that he's going to have from the cars behind going into turn 1. Past all the fancy goes on the left hand side, nice view of all them. They don't feel it by that much in real life, I can guarantee you, but Denzo stays behind Rowan as we head into turn 1. Arcolo, then Passassim and Joey. And we can see some racing that's very, very close finally. We have an idea of what the strategy is until the end of the race. It's Joey. He's got to run up Passassin into turn 4. Passassin's going to have to leave in some room. I think he left enough room because Passassin just touched the grass on the left-hand side and the Alfa Romeo is through.
Yeah, Joey really frightened him off the road, really. He left quite a lot of space and ended up almost running wide. I think he was trying to avoid contact, which is absolutely as he should. But Joey really had a tight line for turn 4 and ended up just. He didn't need all the space that Assassin gave him. Assassin really was quite kind to him. But that's number 1 done. Now Joey's really got to get the hammer down, but he's got to build up his ERS, which could be difficult in amongst this DRS train. Tom Robbo just gone from bad to worse, really, hasn't it, since that penalty. But look at the traction Joey's got. I suspect what's going to save him as much as anything else.
He's done wide.
Just as soon as I said that, he's now going to have to get on the defence.
He's going to have to get on the defence. He's got a very quick debut driver behind him of Assassin.
Using battery. And Drayson Batten behind him is using battery. So Joey's going to have to get pressing his button. He has, which is a sensible move. Because otherwise he'd have been moved down not just 1, but I would say 2. But Assassin's really struggling here at the moment.
He might lose 2 places. Stinson would have seen him give that place away last lap. He's going to go round the outside. Is Assassin going to lose 2 places in the same corner on the 2 different laps? Yes, he is. He's going to try and go down. He's had a 5 though, Assassin, putting some entertainment on, but he can't get through.
No, gamely fought from Assassin there. He's he's got his elbows out without being too harsh, which is perfectly fine in EU1. He's not going to score any championship points, but he's there to really try and back up Racing Point, and through no fault of his own, really, he's been shuffled back through. Now, Joey, I suspect, is going to try and perfect his entry into that chicane.
Yes.
He needs to make sure that he gets it right, because Arkelo has got a lot more battery than he's had. He needs to be an element of surprise if he possibly can. I don't expect that will happen, but he's got a lot better traction there. Stays within him, really, through there. Now, what can you do, Joey? What can you do in terms of getting ahead? And the answer really isn't much, because Arkelo spent some of his tokens, and Joey's using it on the defence, because here comes Stinson around the outside.
Is it going to pay off? No, it isn't. Is Assassin close to trying? No, he isn't. He's not as close as I thought he was, Jack.
No, he was going to try and set him up through turn 2 and maybe sort of put him offline through 3, and it nearly worked. He's all over the back of him. He's absolutely all over the back of him. It's like a cheap suit, and no, he's not going to quite make it there. But all this squabbling is really holding these guys up, and it's allowing the hard runners, who are still headed by Risa, with Postman, Rowan and Denzo holding each other up. And Postman might know, I don't know what he saw in the race, but he might know that he could be racing for the win here.
I'm sure he got a pretty good view of it. And we have very close standings in EU1. Vaporizer isn't here, there's 2 races to go. Risa, 3 points behind. Fruitful should have probably been doing better than 10th. Unfortunately not. Bolin, 25 points off, he's 3rd. Racing Point only ahead by 7 points in the constructors. So Assassin's got a bit of responsibility. Don't see any overtakes down to turn 1. Mercedes 143, 28 points behind. Reese is in the lead, Stinson's in 7th. They might be able to catch. The constructors and drivers is nonetheless going to go all the way down to Mexico on the final week. EU1 is something you don't want to miss, and the viewers tonight have been spectacular. Joey got a good exit down the inside of 5. Alfa Romeo versus Ferrari, the 2 Ferrari powered cars, contact between the 2. Jack will probably call it fair. Joey is ahead of Arcola.
It was firm but fair.
Oh, he's been touched! He's been touched! The Mercedes causing controversy again! And the man who got a 5-page grid pen, and now Fruitful is going wheel to wheel with Stinson. Arcola is basically out of the points. Oh dear, no. Oh, we're going 4 wide, 3 wide into turn 10. And I think Samana's made the place. Assassin has lost 3. He's coming back at the Red Bull round the inside of 12. And this is good battering, but what we just saw is a bit harsh.
So, Assassin has been absolutely mugged through there. What happens when you get stuck on the outside there? You are at the liberty of the car ahead, car inside. The car inside has the corner. And he effectively is the corner. That's just what happens. One comes through. They're all looking to try and get through. He's back though down the inside, but Drayson's having none of that. And off you go, sunshine. Arkelo he's left whilst on track. So I feel for him. I do. But yeah, Simpson just hit him at the back. He was too impatient going through. He failed really to judge the closing speed of the car ahead accurately, and he really should. To be fair, you know, you should know that hard tires are going to be a little bit slower, and he just simply pushed him up the back and round you go, sunshine. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not gonna lie,
really.
Jack. I nearly swiped out. I was P2 last night. I nearly hit the leader. Actually, I did hit him in the backside twice, actually, through that corner. And luckily, none of us, you know, definitely not on purpose. It happens, but
No, not at all.
yeah.
It's a mistake, but
It's harsh,
not,
isn't it? It's harsh.
It's not a mistake really that whatever of these calibers, you know, you'd expect to make, because you know it's not just this team they're racing all sorts of top PS4, PS5 esports leagues. Call them what you want. They're racing all sorts of top esports leagues, and yeah, he'll be disappointed with himself when he looks back at that. Really, there's no real defence. What it has done though is allowed Joey to get ahead. Now Joey...
Oh! He's just slipped badly, Joey, but he did have a sufficient gap to the Mercedes behind to control it. Probably lost a couple of seconds, maybe even 3 there.
Yeah,
And
lost a
he
second and a half
survives.
there.
Just.
Gathered himself back up, lost a second and a half, and he just cuts the curb on the turn 2.
Second and a half, there we go. Maybe I exaggerated it a bit.
Easier really to avoid, you know, easier to say than do, to be honest, at turn 2 when you're on warm tyres. What happens is when you clip the curb on the inside, you have to make sure the rear end's planted, and it's not going to be planted on older or medium tyres. It's not going to be planted, and you are going to lose time. Fortunately, it's probably going to cost him a lap ahead of the guy ahead. I don't think that's going to affect him too much, but it's a nuisance he didn't need because he's got Stinson all over the back, and you know he's going to be vulnerable without DRS. He might just... Is he going to catch up? Yes, he is. Yeah, he is going to just about get DRS.
He's got some pace.
Probably going to save him. Yeah, he's got some pace, but yeah, he's rather messed himself up now because he's going to be bringing this little lot with him, whereas before that
This
wasn't
little
the case.
fast lot.
So, I think it's all the way back to 13, isn't it? All the way back to 13. So yeah, no. Reese, meanwhile, just the 10.5 seconds clear. So I think we've got the first one who's going to win on track. But Boastman will know. Boastman Rowan will know they could be fighting for greater prizes than they are at the moment.
Thank you, Clowns and In Machine, for just confirming that he did hit him. Thank you. I was on board with the car in front. I made the assumption. I was going to say it's the only way he spun, but thank you for
Yes,
confirming.
Well, Stinson actually took a bit of a trip through the gravel. Actually, in the midst of all of that, he just went too fast. Really, there's no other way of dressing it up. You can dress it up how you want. It's just an error. It happens, but that's no consolation to Arkelo.
Now, we are commentators, but we're also pundits, I guess. I will ask you in a second about that incident again as we get to the closing stages very shortly. We'll just check out these fast drivers. Heading down to turn number 1. Is Denzo close to Rowan? No. Is Stinson close to Joey? Not quite. So let me ask you, Jack, you've done a lot of races at COS, and you have probably seen lap 1 incidents. You've seen them in the commentary box. I'm sure you've seen them on track. What do you think might happen to the Mercedes?
Well, Risa,
Yes.
I've got bad news if it was me.
Do you... Is he fully at fault for that?
He's the other 2 drivers are not at fault, and he's the only driver that is at fault, because when you make the starts are so difficult anyway. But when Alp and Rowan make clear where they're going, and they did fairly quickly, especially Alp angled his car towards the centre of the racetrack. You don't really expect there to be a car to try and wedge himself in the middle and try and go 3 wide through the middle. What should have happened was he should have either backed out if he could, and he can do it, or headed to the left-hand side and try and make his way. As long as he's not got an overlap on Alp, he should have maybe backed out and then tried to go round the outside, or just sort of held position. There was, as soon as Alp and Rowan made the moves, which they did instantaneously, there was never going to be any prospect of him getting through. So I'd be surprised, bearing in mind it led to the retirement indirectly of Malgo and wrecked the races of Rowan and Alf. I'd be surprised if it wasn't a best case scenario for him 10 seconds and 2 penalty points.
Wheel to wheel.
Down the inside.
Oh no, more incidents! The McLaren has been spun round, and so has the Alpha too. And that is another big EU1 incident. I was just about to say, after you finish your sentences, last season we saw literally 0 incidents. This season there has been more than ever, and it's been half of the length of a season. Not 22 weeks, 11 weeks. And that is another one.
It's a bit less of a long game though, isn't it? That's part of the reason, is it's a lot less of a long game. I think Joey's got quite bad front wing damage. It'd be amazing if he doesn't. That's what it is. Tom Roberts picked up his 12th penalty of the evening. He seems to be getting a lot of. I think Joey's going to retire. There's no real defence, to be honest. It seems to me that he just wafted coming out of turn 5.
I don't know what the traction was like. Just stay left. I'm not a professional driver, but
no, neither. But he had plenty of space on the inside. He didn't really need to make that move. He didn't need to. Well, he did, but he didn't need to.
He could make the move.
Have that much track.
Yeah. That's it.
He didn't need to have that much track, though, did he?
That's it. Yeah, that's the after bit. Yes.
He didn't need to waft, and he didn't need. And it's something that drivers do a lot, and it's something that particularly younger esports drivers do a lot, where they try to sort of take as much of the outside as possible, when all you need to do is just get the inside, get to the apex, and stop him from turning the car. It's something it's a trend that you see a lot in younger drivers, I suspect. So that's what that was there. But I think Stewart's going to be quite busy.
Yeah, we've had a busy night. The Stewards have got it all to do, and these are the rowing with a slip, and that might allow Boseman to get away, but also may allow Fruitful to come in on his teammate. But Fruitful's got 0 battery, 6%. Will do absolutely nothing.
Those Williams drivers, they're not going to be daft.
That's good in the constructors though, because they are second. That's good. They'll go first.
13 seconds clear with 2 laps to go. There's a good chance that you might escape the 15-second penalty, in which case then the stewards really are left with a dilemma, because I would suggest that's probably what he would receive, because 15 seconds wouldn't really do anything to him, but it's been quite firm but fair recently. But,
well, that's the problem, isn't it, with stewarding, because sometimes, like for example, if there was a safety car on lap 29, 15 seconds can put you last, as we may see last night with someone having a legal pit entry. I'm probably not allowed to say anymore. I won't. But if you pull 15 seconds and win the race by 15 seconds, you can't just then add 20 seconds because you need to punish him. If you've added 15 seconds and he's 15 seconds away,
there'll be ways around it, but that's not for us to decide. But there'll be things that they can do that might not affect this.
Was this the final lap? Oh no, he's passed. Sorry, one more.
This is now the final lap. He's got 1.3 seconds to find.
He only found
Here comes
7
Rowan
tenths.
now. He's going to try and... Well, Rowan's out of battery completely. Postman's out of battery completely, almost so is Rowan.
When did he get that penalty?
Postman, just a lap or so ago. That's quite key, really. Here comes Bowen now. I think Rowan is probably not quite going to make it. Problem is when you use all of your ERS, when you got 3%, you're just using it to you're just wasting it, to be honest. You might as well wait until the DRS and at least have a go there, because otherwise it's just going to be a bit frivolous, really.
Yeah.
14.3 seconds. Here comes Reesa now. Reesa's into turn 10. He's in a different league, isn't he? In terms of pace on the track now. I'm going to focus on the battle for second. I'll let you know if anything happens. You may as well bring Reesa home, to be honest.
Bet you didn't know.
Boseman looks like he's going to hold on.
Well, I bet you didn't know Boseman was on 89%. IFR Reesa on track after a chaotic scenes of lap 1. Comes across the line 33 laps later and dominates the Spanish Grand Prix by a lot.
I think he either ran out of fuel, we've got a puncture across the line, so this lot isn't done yet. Here comes Postman now out of the final corner. I suspect he paid, so he's going to definitely... Rowan is going to take second place. Boseman drops. Oh goodness me!
Wow. Wow! 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 Wow!
No
Oh.
penalties for you. Samad has got past Denso, I think.
Oh dear. And that is second, potentially first, eighth.
No,
Because
Samad
of a penalty.
was quite high up, out got past Samad. Denso didn't quite get there.
Well, that is an incredible Spanish Grand Prix. Said before the race, the 3 races in Catalonia this week have actually been quite good, contrary to the Spanish standards of racing, but are not always great, as we've seen in real life and online. This week has been absolutely superb. Every single race. That was a race. That had everything.
Plenty of drama. Certainly a lot to keep the viewers and the fans on the edge of their seats. The Steve Williams drivers, they're going to pick up second and third at least. And then we're going to see quite what happens here for Reese. Reese, who's he's done what he had to do, hasn't he?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm going to put myself in this situation. Probably don't apply too much, but the race last night was an intermediate full race. I got a really good start. I was about to go right through 2 cars straight away, but I got closed off. Now, if I didn't brake, I probably would have done what happened today. So, but because I broke, I got on later and finished P2. So, it's all ifs, buts and maybes. If reset, I mean, Wizard is putting in the chat. Now, Wizard is, you know, very, very knowledgeable, of course. Major incidents are classed as 20 seconds. If that was to be given a 20-second penalty, he would go to 9th place. If it was given a 15, he'd win the race. And that is what it's going to come down to. And the problem is, what happened last week has been causing a lot of controversy. And I understand why, from the IFR perspective. You know, the stewards gave a racing incident, and the admin's appeal give it a 10-second. And the controversy was, how have you gone from a 0 to a 10? And the explanation was, if you think it's not a penalty, it's an RI. If you think it's a penalty, it must be a 10. And this is going to be another one of those situations, Jack. He's either going to finish first, or he's going to finish 9th.
I think we're going to say that all drivers are now present and accounted for in the press room, so we can get straight to it.
That's Jack telling me to shut up, Limmy. We can't.
And I'm going to start with IFR Reetha. Reetha, you probably know what question I'm going to ask you. Talk us through the start line. Tell us what you saw of that.
Just watching it now. I can't really remember what happened, and I still don't know. So just take a quick look. Yeah, the thing happened was that I hit Alp, and then not to hit him, I touched Rowan slightly, and then he went into the side of Alp, and they both spun, I think. So,
is there anything you do differently?
I could do, or I should do.
You would. If you had to count again, is there anything that you would do differently?
Take the other side, but yeah, I don't know. I'll let the stewards decide. I'll not say anything to it.
No, that's entirely fair enough. I'm trying to get things that you're probably not allowed to say. Well, Limmy, I'll let you have your questions now. That's all I need to ask.
Oh, fair enough. Risa, that's superb, by the way. Absolutely domination of the whole field. Where have you pulled that from?
I don't know. I didn't have the quality pace, so race pace was in my hand today, or tonight. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really know.
I mean, I don't think after lap 1 we came back to you. I mean, you were 10 seconds ahead, 13 seconds ahead, 14 ahead, and it was just a whitewash. I mean, your pace was excellent. Did you think the strategy was perfect for you tonight?
I think the virtual, no, not the virtual, but safety car worked out pretty well.
Was you thinking of pitting?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, not
a couple of others did, I believe, but
yeah, I saw that, and yeah, I don't know. I really wanted to do the soft hard strategy, and where the safety car helps a lot on Tyria at the end, because the soft, or not the soft, the hards die at the end. So yeah, I'm glad I didn't pit it.
We saw a lot of incidents tonight, actually. Not counting the lap one. I mean, in the race itself. Do you think that EU1 has become a little bit more competitive, or dash go for more moves because it's a shorter season? Because we've never seen. I'm not counting lap one. I'm talking about on track racing incidents, wheel to wheel. But we've seen a lot more than last season. A lot.
Yeah, I think the calendar are not helping for sure. It's shorter. You need every single point counts. So yeah, but it's so competitive, this league, and people are very close. So yeah, sometimes you have to try something to get past because of the train. So you'll obviously try to take a move as if there's not space. So you have to do it. You can't really pass in this tier. It's so hard.
Final question from me. If you win the race, you go 22 points clear of Vaporizer with 2 races to go. Would it be fair to say this might be your championship to lose now?
No, I'll take one race at a time, and first of all, I will send the footage to the stewards, and they'll have a look, of course, and that will probably be a penalty tonight, or not tonight, but yeah, from tonight. So yeah, I'll take one race at a time, but yeah, let's see. It looks good.
Fantastic. Thank you for setting up the lobby.
Yeah,
much appreciated.
Of course, mate.
And thank you for the interview, my good sir.
Of course.
We're now going to go to IFR Robin. P2, it was a tumultuous race, I think it's fair to say. Difficult, but you must be pleased to come away with, at the very least, the middle step on the podium. The second step on the podium, sorry.
Yeah, of course. It was a good race for me. I'm still learning on the wheel, because I always drove on the pad and now on the wheel, so it's every week it's getting better and better, but it's not at the point that I wanted, but I hope it's getting better every week, so yeah, it was good.
And you had a bit of a battle with Postman there, I think it's fair to say. You were really hustling and hammering him. You know, is it really that difficult to pass here, or is it just a case of, you know, Rowan Postman was kind of on your pace?
I think he was faster than me in sector 1 and out of the last corner. I think he drove a little bit more wings, because he was really fast on the straight, but in the second sector I was just driving to him. But yeah, I didn't have the traction out of the last corner every time, so it was pretty close every time in the first corner, but yeah, then he got his 3 seconds. So yeah, that was good for me and for Fruit too.
Well done. That is exactly what you and Williams needed. That puts the pressure on the top 2 in the championship, and that probably puts you at the top of constructor by a couple of points or so. A good night overall then for you?
Yeah, it's a good night for me.
What's yes, you had work to do. Was 15 seconds to the leader a representative of your pace? Do you think you could have been closer if something else happened, or was it just because you had to work your way through?
No, I didn't think I had the pace like Rissa did, but at the first stint, right before the pit stops, I think a little bit faster than the guys in front, but you can't pass on this track, so I wanted to undercut them, and it worked out on the McLaren. But the Haas was like my pace, but on the straight it was really fast, so yeah, that's what happened.
I'm sure you've seen the modifications to Turn 10 next season. Do you think that's going to make better overtaking attempts or not?
I don't think it's gonna change a lot because it's not the straight is not going to get much longer. So I don't think it's gonna change a lot of the racing on this track.
And Azerbaijan and Mexico are the final two. How confident are you that you can get some good results?
I don't know yet. I didn't drove a league race on the wheel there yet, so I'm gonna see what happened.
Cool. Thank you, Bolin. Well done. Hope to see
you.
you on the party next weekend or next week. Thank you.
Fruitful, P3. I think it's fair to say yours was a bit more of a mundane race in comparison to a lot of other drivers. You seem to sort of keep it clean where others maybe lost their heads, and so third place represents a very good finish for you, doesn't it? Just talk to us about that race from your perspective, really, and just sort of say how you kept your head in amongst all the chaos that ensued around.
Well, at the start, I completely got mucked off by everyone just going full throttle while there was a big crash. So I lost 5 to 6 positions there. I had to pit for new hards or just to try something else than the rest. Otherwise, I wouldn't have overtaken anyone. So yeah, I tried something different to go to the hards and then after the mediums. It was a difficult race because I just couldn't overtake. Nobody could overtake and was sitting behind and hoping for some crashes, which happened, luckily for me, and picking up no penalties. So no, it was quite a clean race for me, but quite a frustrating one as well. Got lucky with the podium.
So, how difficult is it to keep your head? How difficult is it, when you're stuck in the middle of a DRS train, and there's no real hope of going anywhere? Is it just a case of trying to sort of save any battery power, saving the knowledge that you're going to be in a DRS train for a while, and that'll keep you within the second of the car ahead, or does it really start to sort of eat away at you because the laps are ticking down?
Nah, I don't have a cool head when I'm racing. I get quite frustrated quite easily. So in a DRS train, I'm frustrated and when it's just trying to keep behind him and not get overtaken in a DRS train. Yeah, I don't know. I just can't drive in these DRS trains. It just frustrates me really, really bad because it's so unrealistic. So it's just annoying.
Well done, Fruitful.
Thank you.
Championship's on, isn't it?
It definitely is. Risset's got the big lead now. If he doesn't get a penalty, but if he does get a penalty, it's gonna be really close. Really looking forward to the last 2 races.
Yeah, commentary's going to be a bit of a mad one. What did you see of the Turn 1 incident?
Flying Milan, that's all.
A flying Milan?
Yeah, I just had to back off because I was right in the middle of it. So only thing I saw was Alp going wide and I think Rowan on the side of the road and then a flying Milan. So that's it.
It's for People's Champion going to do it 2 seasons in a row. It's going to be mega, isn't it? I mean, where did you qualify? Is it 9th? 8th?
9th, that's the worst qualifying of my life. But
you're going to have to... I mean, you know this more than I do. You're going to have to try and start getting top 3, top 4 now, aren't you? Because Azerbaijan, yes, we know you can overtake. But it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? It's a very short rundown as well to Turn 1. So you're going to have to qualify as high as you possibly can in order to try and win this championship, surely.
True. Yeah, I just need to find a good setup for myself where I just feel comfortable in driving, especially through castle section. That's going to be a really important part of the race.
I just see someone binning it, honestly. No, I've never said that before because EU1 is spot on with the driving most of the time.
Yeah, it is, but I'm just not secure enough about my driving to go through there as I like. So now I just need to practice a lot, get a good setup, be comfortable with the car, be comfortable with the track, and then it will go by my side. So, yeah.
Final question, and it's moving on from the question that I asked Risa. You've won a championship from being behind.
No.
If you want to win this championship, you're also going to have to win it from being behind. But have you seen over the past 2 seasons a difference in some of the mentality from the drivers? Because we are seeing more action, aren't we?
I don't really think it's a big difference in mentality. I think it's just more of unlucky and incidents. Because most of the incidents that happen are not by people completely losing their cool. It's just some unfortunate incidents that happen. So I really haven't seen a difference in mentality. On this track, of course, everyone needs to overtake as soon as possible because they want to make the gap closer to the car in front. So, yeah, no, I really haven't seen a big change.
Fair enough. And that leads me to say, well done. And I wish you the
Thanks.
best of luck for the next 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Jack Prentice.
Well, it just leads me to say that it's one of the most action-packed Grand Prix I think I can remember covering.
Really? You go that far?
Yes. Yeah, in terms of incidents, collisions, overtakes. Okay, a lot of the overtakes were DRS assisted to turn 1, but there was never really anything that we weren't talking about, was there? There was only really a lull in the middle of the races again with all races, where there was any sort of lack of action. I think towards the end as well, when everybody realised what was at stake, you certainly saw a lot of collisions. Azerbaijan promises to be much more of the same, doesn't it? And I think that's where we're heading next. So that'll be survival of the fittest there. What I will say is, obviously, we have to mention our partners. That's the F1 debate group on Facebook, the F1 armchairs group, sorry, on Facebook, and from there, that's obviously with is it the Made in Italy Emilia? I don't know. I'm just going to call it the San Marino Grand Prix this week. Well, when I was young, it was the San Marino Grand Prix, so that's what I'm going to stick with. That's obviously this week, so that's going to be a very busy forum. All that remains for me to say is I shall see you next week. I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's going to be a great last 2 races.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you to the interviewees. Thank you to the viewers. That was, I'm gonna, when we end this stream and have a little discussion, because the drivers normally stay in, definitely put in that clip that Wizard made, the baby wizard they call him, to watch that back again. Maybe that's an Instagram clip. Who knows? There we go. That's the end of another week. Please, please, please do not miss Azerbaijan next week. There are 4 people in the running for the championship. There are 3 teams in the running for the constructors. Do not miss it. Thank you. Stay safe. Have a good week. And we'll see you in a week's time in Azerbaijan. Have a good night.